What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So a quick update and plans for this week, since Christmas falls right in the middle of it, and sort of what the schedule is for Newswave. We'll have Newswave, obviously today, tomorrow, but then no Newswave on Christmas or the day after, because we, of course, edit and film everything the day before. Figure we could take off Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day, but we'll be back on the 27th, Friday, to kind of wrap up the week, and I'll still have some videos coming out, some different things here and there for those days we don't have Newswave. But today, we have a lot to go over, which does include Sega maybe taking another swing at the Sega channel. We have a very, very interesting port from Nintendo, or at least Nintendo game, that just dropped online yesterday out of nowhere. And then the Steam Winter Sale is on, and that means, of course, no one's backlog is safe. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members of the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're gonna start today with Terminator, as it appears another one is being set up for release, as it did get a rating. We can see this posted up. This is over on Gamatsu, where they say Australian classification has rated the unannounced game Terminator 2D No Fate for PS5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is listed as published and developed by Reef Entertainment, and as pointed out here by Gamatsu, they published the first-person shooter Terminator Resistance, which I believe that's the one that people have told me was, I think that's the one that it was like the PS4 and it got that PS5 enhancement, and people were telling me it is actually pretty good, even though if you look at like the reviews for it, it did get kind of beaten down by critics. Although it seems like if you're a Terminator fan, you got a kick out of it. And I ran across that for like Taeon, which they also like RoboCop. I ran across that there because I thought it was really, really fun and awesome, because I like the older RoboCop movie. And the critics didn't like it as much. But yeah, I'm interested. At least keep an eye on what exactly this turns into. It getting its classification here means we're probably not too far off from it getting its eventual reveal with a trailer online. Also, good news for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite fans, because there's a recent release that happened that I've been keeping tabs on here and there, but now that it's fully available, you can see the trailer. And this is Marvel vs. Capcom and Beyond. It's a large-scale fan mod that features all new visuals, game modes, music, balance changes, and more. It's not an official work of Capcom or Marvel games, as they point out on the website, and it's only compatible with the Steam version of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, so you will need the base game to play it. But I will say it is on sale right now, as we're going to eventually get to the Steam Winter Sale, but it's $8 currently, so it is marked down quite heavily, and this mod is completely free. It's just available on their website. I believe Maximilian Dude was a big driving force for this modification, and I will say, just looking at especially the visuals, the style looks a lot better. That was something that put a lot of people off for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, were the looks, definitely. And then, of course, characters that were pretty much tried and true for the Marvel vs. Capcom series, just missing completely from it. But still, them being able to work around some of the balance issues and fixing things up with the visuals, it is a definite overhaul that's worth checking out, even if you played Infinite back in the day. I mean, it looks like almost a whole new game, and the mod's free. Just might have to put out $8 for the Steam version of it. Oh, and we did get a sales update here for Octopath Traveler, specifically the entire series. As you can see over on their official account, they posted some new artwork because they've reached 5 million copies shipped and sold. And I mean, that's just Octopath Traveler as a series just rolling along. Now, Octopath Traveler 2, while it's an awesome game, didn't seem to sell as fast as just Octopath Traveler. It still seems to be rolling along in terms of just the overall series as an evergreen series now. And that means I feel like you'll see another Octopath Traveler at some point. But I will say, eventually you get to that position where it is harder and harder to sell them if people keep viewing them as sequels. And I think that's why it's better to have the HD 2D being introduced with Octopath Traveler and then moving it around to other intellectual properties like we saw recently with Dragon Quest III. But still, having another Octopath Traveler would be interesting, just to see how maybe they can evolve the engine, the gameplay style, and the idea of introducing the story in a very unique way there. But hey, at least for now, the Octopath Traveler series, very successful for Square Enix, and it continues to roll along 5 million copies now. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Sega. And, well, they had the Sega channel a long time ago, right? Back in the day with the Genesis. I had it over a summer. It was like 3 months or so, and we had to return the box, the thing that went into the Genesis. I feel like it was to might have been Comcast still at that time, but we had to give it back, and basically having it for the summer was really cool, although it didn't work as much as I'd like it to. It consistently got errors and stuff, but man, when it worked, it was something special. Going through a whole menu and be able to just pick games on the fly, on demand, and play them right there on your Genesis. It felt like magic. Well, after that went away, Sega did try Sega Forever, which was more tied to your phones. That was a thing where basically the games were kind of streamed to your phones. At least they were streamed in as you picked them, and that was a whole situation because they tried to use ads to subsidize it, and it didn't work out too well. And now it looks like Sega could be trying it again in terms of subscription services. This time, though, they have a certain model in mind. We can see this posted up. This was over from the BBC, saying Sega is considering launching its own Netflix-like subscription service for video games, a move which would accelerate gaming's transition towards streaming. Sega's president, Shuji Itsumi, told the BBC such subscription products were very interesting, and his firm was evaluating some opportunities, saying, quote, "We're thinking something and discussing something. We cannot disclose right now." Very descriptive. Some of the industry have expressed concern about the move, however, telling the BBC it could see gamers shelling out more money on multiple subscription services. Yeah, it's kind of like what happened with cable, where everyone was like, we're gonna cut the cord, we're getting rid of those packages, like $200 some odd cable packages, thing of the past. And then we circle back around, and the prices for these subscription services, think of, you have Disney, Netflix, well, Hulu becoming part of Disney, but then like Max, and basically they'll add up to being the same price as cable that we were all happy about cutting out in the first place. And video games, we see so many subscription services popping up, and it's inevitable that if you're Sega, who has been working to rebuild some of their older intellectual properties, and we see them pushing more and more, as they themselves say, transmedia, as in we have media that transitions between gaming and movies seamlessly, or even TV series. You have more content there that could go into a Netflix-like subscription service. But then it's like, how many subscription services are too many? Because it does kind of feel like we're already there. At least it's crowded enough, as Ubisoft, EA, Microsoft, Sony, even Nintendo now, they all want to have subscription services, and then you get the big publishers doing it as well, even outside of those, like a Sega. Yeah, it's gonna get so crowded that it just becomes completely saturated. But hey, if Sega believes they have the content, as we've already seen them go around and delist a lot of stuff, specifically from Steam, although on PC, the catalog there is like generations of consoles basically stuffed into one because it's compatible just through PC and Windows and stuff. So them pulling a lot of these games down is kind of them indicating that maybe they are looking to have this Netflix-like subscription service ready at some point, and this is just pre-planning and setting things up. I do wonder if this would be a download service or if it would be streaming, because in their mind, streaming is just quick delivery, and Netflix really streams stuff, like that's their big thing. But downloads being more like Game Pass, I think would be preferable for people who are like used to like normally playing video games, not like on your phone, but with a controller set up at a desk or in your living room. But a Sega Netflix-like subscription, what do you think about that? $10 a month and you get all the Sega stuff right there in one application? Or are we just to a point where there's just too many subscription services? I just cannot sign up for another one. Next up, let's talk about a port that was released yesterday, kind of out of nowhere. Like we knew it was coming, but it was just dropped online on GitHub last night, and it was like, hey, go ahead and download it and check it out. And that's for a port natively to Windows for Star Fox 64. Now, there will be a Linux and Mac OS version releasing later, because I know there are people out there on their Steam Deck that are like, come on, get this thing over here on Steam OS natively, although some are already setting it up at like as we speak to run on Steam Deck. So I'm sure you'll see different tutorials and stuff pop up either way. But you do need to get a ROM of the game. However you want to do that, you can, but then it actually extracts all the assets from it, so their distribution method through decompilation means that they don't really have to technically worry about Nintendo, because they're not providing the ROM. So at least in that end, they should be in the clear. But what this does now is, because it is natively running on Windows and it's completely decompiled, they can do things like have ultra widescreen support, They can have, say, the assets in the game look significantly better, set up for 4K, even ray tracing, and have the frame rate be significantly higher even. I mean, they have it right now at 60 FPS, and that means that animations and stuff won't actually be affected. So you can speed up things like on the N64, which I can show you some of the footage here that was posted up on YouTube as a person actually showcased this at the end of November, just how things were going with it, and they still had some glitches and stuff. A lot of that's been ironed out at this point. Now, this is coming to us from Harbor Masters, and they're the team behind remember the N64 Zelda PC ports, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time. They've shifted their focus here to Star Fox 64. And what we saw happen with a lot of these N64 PC ports, other people come in and continue working on them, and we get some really, really cool effects. And I will say, Star Fox is wide open here for all kinds of cool stuff. This game could look incredible. I mean, again, it's based around a Nintendo 64 game, I know, but there's just so many things that can be done just with current or modern technology and a lot of the video cards and stuff people are running. I mean, it's just like, honestly, it's like limitless here with how interesting I think Star Fox 64 could get. And that's saying something based on the source material. Because, I mean, come on, it's a classic game that many of us, I'm sure, have played multiple times over, even on different machines leading up now to the Switch. But what a cool thing to see just kind of pop up last night out of nowhere. Again, it's available through GitHub. I'll have it linked down below. You can check it out for yourself and see what you think. You will have to, again, source a ROM, but I'm sure most people who want to find it can, and then you can try out Star Fox 64 natively on your Windows PC. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft, as many articles have been going up, sort of, we'll say, quote-unquote, predicting some of the plans that Microsoft has in place as they are working towards their next-generation Xbox, or the next-generation ecosystem, because everything's an Xbox now, at least according to Microsoft, and that seems to be the direction they're going in, even on the hardware side. Now, we can see this article that was posted up. Here's an excerpt. This is from Windows Central, saying Microsoft is looking to partner with different companies that already have handhelds out in order to improve the experience of playing Xbox games on the go, directly playing into the firm's recent This Is an Xbox marketing campaign. We've even heard that Microsoft is exploring options around letting third parties build Xbox-branded devices, something that could extend as far as letting them directly use the Xbox operating system. These third-party Xbox devices could appeal to specific niches, providing a number of options with audiences or markets that Microsoft has previously struggled in. Now, I did go over the strategy Microsoft seems to be employing now as they go into, I still think, the end of 2026, maybe like the 2027 midway through, where we will see them really push to next generation and kind of leave the Xbox Series behind a bit. Now, this is Project Rainway, and again, I spent a whole video going over that, but this comes more down to the hardware side, because then, when is your generational launch really? To me, it's whenever these third-party manufacturers are ready to go themselves, because they can each launch at different times. Think about how many different PC handhelds you see launching right now. They're all running Windows, so they all kind of tap into Game Pass as it is. And if Microsoft were able to provide them with the Xbox software, the OS that would run on their own handheld, you could have Xbox systems dropping every 6 months or something, maybe even sooner than that, right? Constantly. And they could all cover different niches, as they mentioned here, different pricing structures. So you could have very cheap Xbox systems come out, similar to what we have with the Series S. You could have incredibly expensive ones, more than we have now, right? So you could have a $1,200 Xbox Series Quadruple X come out, and its sole purpose is to give you true 4K, 60 FPS, ray tracing, the whole thing, but it costs you that, it costs you money. Like, it's not cheap. I mean, it'd be interesting just to see that market and how it would work out, because at that point, Microsoft is just providing the software, the OS, for all these different gaming devices. Kind of like what they do with Windows, where they provide the software or the OS for all these different manufacturers when it comes to PCs. They still make the Surface line, so they would still, I assume, make a base level Xbox of some kind. Hey, here's the Xbox system. Here are the different features we have for it. You can sort of build around that with your own device, and we'll give you the software to load onto it. It'd be definitely maybe the most significant leap in terms of technical prowess from Microsoft when it comes to the gaming side, but I think it would also kind of dilute Xbox in general. It's strange. It's something we've never seen done before, but I'm interested to see how it turns out. So if this is the way they go, I guess we'll find out in a couple of years. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the Steam Winter Sale, because I know all of you out there, your backlogs are pretty much cleared at this point. You don't have games stacked on top of games that you're supposed to be going through. No. I got you covered. In fact, I went through the Steam Winter Sale and specifically picked out games that were $10 or less. That's right. You can walk in to the Steam Winter Sale with like $60 and walk out with like a stupid amount of games. Now, this sale is going until January 2nd, so it will extend past Christmas and the gift-giving season. So if you happen to get, say, a Steam Deck, there'll be plenty of titles waiting for you there. In fact, again, let's go through some of the titles I picked out. Starting at the top here with Metro Exodus, that's $3. Planet Coaster, $2.24. Tales from the Borderlands, $2. Batman Arkham Origins, it's actually a really fun game, $2. Need for Speed Heat Deluxe, $3.49. Need for Speed Unbound, $4.89. Titanfall 2, it's $3, guys. Come on. It's an incredible game. $3 Titanfall 2. Let's get that done. Borderlands Game of the Year is $3. Borderlands 3 is $6. Stardew Valley, $9. Witcher 3 is $8. Civilization 6, $3. Halo Master Chief Collection. You guys know I like to point out these collections because you get a lot of value here for the money. This one is $10, and that'll cover you for the most part for like all the good legacy Halo games. Monster Hunter World is $10. Vampire Survivors, $3.49. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, another good collection here, $4.79. Okami HD, just had the sequel announced, guys, $5 for this one. Ace Combat 7 at $6. South Park Stick of Truth, $3. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, had to do a double take here because it was like 90 some odd percent off, $3.49. Dying Light, $4. Jedi Fallen Order, $4. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, pick one. They're $2 each, so $4 gets you both Left 4 Deads. That's pretty good. Devil May Cry 5 is $10, and Sonic Adventure 2, $5. Like, again, an incredible amount of games that are on sale with steep discounts. I just picked out a handful. There's still pages and pages of deals. So leave some suggestions down below in the comments to set people up with their new Steam Deck for some good games to grab. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, which is Game of the Year Madness, and we can see for day 4, Unicorn Overlord overtook Crow Country. It was 78% versus 22%. Now, the next one up's going to be kind of interesting, and I'm going to be running these still over the holiday and stuff throughout this week so we can get through the bracket because it'll still take a little while here. But, I mean, guys, today, Balatro versus Space Marine 2. I'm really interested to see how that one turns out. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from 1K saying, it occurred to me that the C button on the Switch 2 may be a quick way to connect two consoles. Tap C on both when they are close to each other and they will sync. This could be for Street Pass style features, multiplayer, etc. Yeah, I think we're looking at the C button as, what does it stand for? Is it connect? Is it cast? Nintendo's had C buttons like forever now, it feels like. They had the C stick on the GameCube, even obviously the Nintendo 64, the Wii nunchuck had a C button. They've always kind of used that, like just that letter in general. Doesn't necessarily mean it stands for something. However, they have added it seemingly to the Switch too. Okay, there's, again, the speculation now, we'll say, based on very, very good renderings based on CAD files, and then all the accessory leaks. So with that in mind, that extra button being there, yeah, you would assume it's for some serious functionality, similar to the home button or the capture button. And I guess the idea of it connecting is interesting. We've seen Nintendo play around with that with the Switch, where you can have multiple Switch systems kind of work together in tandem within proximity and kind of jump things between the screens and stuff. So maybe they go to the next level with that, and yeah, you press a button on the Switch 2, and it immediately brings up like a little menu on the side that then says searching for the other Switch 2 or a number of them, and then it connects everything together. That would be legitimately game-changing and would add a lot to what developers can get from their titles, right? But is that such a unique feature that it would kind of be ignored at times by some of the big AAA titles that aren't already built off of that idea? I guess at the end of the day, you buy these systems from Nintendo for Nintendo games, and I'm sure that would be a feature that Nintendo would at least take into account for the majority of their titles. Maybe it's also for just communication in general, as you mentioned with something like Street Pass. I would like to see Nintendo get back to some of that community stuff. I think it'd be really cool. I don't know if they'll ever go back to like a Miiverse thing, but even just having two systems pass each other and interact in some way, even passively, I think would be a lot of fun. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed last week's Newswave, I will leave it up here in a card, or maybe you wanted to hear a bit more about Microsoft's plans with Project Rainwave for next generation, I'll leave that right below it. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.